Hello, my name is Jesse Fry. I'm the Marketing Director at RISC Networks. Cloud migrations are harder than they look for a variety of reasons. The first area that I can think of is inconsistency in applications. When companies are moving to cloud, there's the challenge of inconsistency in applications. And what I mean by that is a lot of IT organizations, they use software patching solutions and other management tools to keep their applications up and running, but oftentimes when they're moving to cloud, they find that these applications have a lot of inconsistencies. One customer actually claimed that they had 150 different versions of a single application before they moved into cloud. And they had to get these consistent before they actually made the move. The second area is having a robust network. A lot of companies, they think when they move to cloud that their existing network is going to be suitable. Now, that's not always the case. There are other organizations that realize that they're going to have to check their network before they make the move. But bandwidth is oftentimes one of the biggest challenges, and you can't just overnight buy more bandwidth. You can maybe buy more dark fiber, add another 10 gig connection, but in many cases, you have to basically understand what those applications are using, and if you move a variety of workloads together, you have to understand how much bandwidth is actually going to take. The third area is security. So RISC Networks, we don't handle security in our analytics, but security is a major concern that a lot of companies, they are worried about it, and they have to look and understand whether or not they have consistencies in the right policies when moving to cloud. Now again, RISC Networks, we're not going to help you with that, but that's something that you need to think about, and that's why a lot of companies, they don't understand the challenge that security provides them during that process. And finally, one area that I think a lot of companies forget about, and they don't even think about this until after they've made the move, and then they realize, wow, we could have done something different there, and that's aging hardware. Companies, they really need to look at the opportunity for them to understand what's running in their environment, what equipment they have, is the equipment end of life? Are there opportunities to refresh their network infrastructure when they're doing these moves to cloud? Because it gives them a great opportunity to make sure their network is under control and that it's new and up to date. IT organizations can do a lot of things differently. So one of the things that IT organizations have been doing when moving to cloud, a lot of analysts have been saying that IT organizations, they think about networking as the last component. So if you have 10 things, it's usually the 9th or 10th thing that they're thinking about. One of the things that you can do differently is establish an appropriate cloud migration strategy, whether it's software as a service or whether it is infrastructure as a service or even platform as a service, is really understand all the variety of components that make up that move. How are the users going to be impacted if your move doesn't go right? How much bandwidth does your organization need? What application dependencies do you have? What security vulnerabilities are you at risk for in the cloud that you don't necessarily have in an on-premise environment? So I think the key component is planning and making sure that planning is done right. You can rush through, you can go to a variety of cloud service providers, swipe your credit card, and be in the cloud in a matter of hours. And that's great, but if you don't properly plan and properly assess your environment and understand the variety of components that could have an impact, then at the end of the day, when you try to focus on strategic initiatives, you're going to be doing the same thing that IT leaders have been doing for years, which is focusing on fighting fires. RISC Networks, we have a variety of analytics. Historically, as a company, we have focused on network infrastructure, data center, unified communications, and we can still do those things today, and that's what we're really good at. But moving into cloud has a lot of variety of issues that are going to come up, including the 4 that I talked about. The robust network side is something that we can help and make that process much easier for your organization and give you the tools and the data that you need to make the right decisions. Everything from understanding the amount of bandwidth it's going to take to understand what applications you're running in your environment to determining what workloads are the best workloads to move. A lot of IT decision makers during that process, it's hard because they don't know what they need to move into cloud. And we give you the information that you need to be able to make better decisions. We also talked earlier in this video, we talked about how end-of-life hardware or aging hardware is a primary component or driver that makes migrations harder. This is a great opportunity for you as an IT leader to make decisions of not just moving to cloud, but to refresh your network. And by understanding what equipment you have, understanding which equipment is either end of sale or end of support, or just clearly end of life, being able to make those decisions and make those investments now, so when you do move to cloud, your infrastructure is going to be much stronger and performing better than it did before you moved to cloud. So RISC Networks gives you an analytic set that looks across the spectrum of the problems that I talked about, with exception to maybe security. But it really looks at a lot of those networking issues, end-of-life issues, performance issues, and making sure that you have what you need when you move to cloud.